beautiful hammock thing. You can do everything right and still get hit by life anyway. One day your job feels stable, your income feels solid, and then suddenly the rules shift, the war starts and the market drops. A whole industry gets squeezed, and what you thought was solid starts to wobble. That is life. And the point is not to become scared of it. The point is to stop pretending it will never happen and find the best solution to fix it once and for all. The question is not whether uncertainty exists. The question is whether your life is built to survive it. It feels nice to be the good person with a good job, the respectable title and the steady paycheck, the nice office, the whole package, or maybe the beautiful hammock. Doctor, lawyer, pilot, or engineer, manager, whatever your lane is. There is pride in that. There is comfort and real value. A strong career can change your life. It can give you status, money, confidence, and options. But the world is moving fast, and the uncomfortable truth is that one source of income can look powerful right up until the moment it is not anymore. It does not take much. It can be a layoff, a recession, or a health issue, a shift in the demand, a new technology, a crisis in your country, or just a slow erosion that you do not notice until the pressure is already there. Take the most recent one, COVID. It's the best example when everyone in the aviation business has to take pay cuts, including me. At that time, out of 40 pilots that were based in the same place, 39 signed 80% pay cut. Only one pilot said no to the agreement and left. So what do? You do not sit there and wait for the perfect future. You build a structure that can breathe. You diversify because it gives you room. Because room is freedom, and freedom is what you are really buying when you build more than one income stream. Diversification is not some rich people trick. It's not a luxury for people with private jets and weird sunglasses and 5 houses they never live in. It is basic survival with ambition attached to it. It is the difference between hoping life goes well and preparing for the day it does not. If you're a pilot, do you want every ounce of your financial life tied only to one airline, one route, or one system? If you're a doctor, do you want your entire future to depend only on hospital revenue and the pace of one single institution? If you work in hospitality, travel, or restaurants, do you want to act like the industry is immune to shocks? That would be adorable, but no. Those sectors can be some of the first to feel the squeeze when the world starts to shake. Because the world does not always send a warning. Sometimes it just changes the music and expects you to keep dancing. Well, just invest every month, put 500 euros aside, keep doing that for 20 or 30 years, and you will be fine. And yes, on paper, that looks amazingly beautiful. It really does. It is elegant and it is clean. It is one of the few boring ideas that can actually change one life. But the problem is not the math. The problem is the human being doing the math. Because real life is messy. Real life includes stress, family, rent, inflation, bad timing, and the occasional week where you look at your bank account and ask why it's disrespecting you. So the goal is not to invest, the goal is to create a life where investing is easy to sustain. Because consistency is easier when your income does not depend on one fragile pillar. Having more than one income source is not only about defense, it is also about offense. That is where things get interesting. When everybody else is panicking, you are in the right position. When everybody else is forced to sell, you can simply buy. And when everyone else is scrambling to survive, you can make the moves. That is the real power. The kind that lets you act when opportunities appear cheap, when assets are undervalued, or when businesses are closing, and when the talent is available. When the market is just confused, crises are painful. Yes, I know, you know, we all know. There are also strange moments where history hands out discounts to people who are prepared. But you only get those discounts if your life is not built like a house of cards. Imagine two people. One has a high income, but it comes from one place only, one job, one boss, and one market. The other person makes a little less from the main job, but has a second stream, maybe a side business, consulting, content, maybe real estate, maybe something small but absolutely real. When trouble comes, who sleeps better? It is not always the person with a bigger headline salary. It is the person with a wider base. That person has breathing room. That person can say no, and that person can wait. That person can negotiate. How many income sources do you have right now as of this moment? Put it in the comments, 1, 2, 3, maybe more. The first step is knowing where you actually stand. And maybe your answer is, I have one, and that's fine. That is not a moral failure. It is just information, information which is useful. It means you now know what needs attention. Maybe your answer is, I have a job and I do a little something on the side, which is great. That already puts you ahead of the person who only has one lane and no backup. Safety is not about magic, it is about the structure. The pace of change is ridiculous. A skill can be valuable this year and less useful 3 years later. A business model can be hot now and tired later. A whole profession can get reshaped by software, automation, AI, consumer habits, and global events. Or simply a change in what people want. It means you should build like a person who understands the world is completely alive. It moves, and when it moves, you need flexibility. And flexibility comes from more than one source of income, more than one skill. If you are a doctor, be a great doctor. If you are a lawyer, be a great lawyer. Or if you are a teacher, manager, engineer, whatever your field is, do it well, earn well, learn well, and build reputation, build trust. But do not act like that is the whole story. It should be your base, not your cage. Your profession can be one strong pillar, but it should not be the only pillar holding the roof up on your head. Because roofs collapse when the support is too narrow. And life has a funny habit of testing narrow structures. Real safety comes from layering income from your profession, income from assets, income from your skills, income from something you build or something you own. That is the kind of architecture that lets you breathe. And you are thinking, okay, but what do I actually do? Start smaller than your ego wants. Build one extra source of income. One. That is enough for now, not 10, not a fantasy empire. One. Maybe it is freelance work, maybe it is a small digital business, Maybe it is content, or maybe it is a skill you already have that other people would gladly pay for. The point is to create a second lane so your life is not a hostage. Once you have one, the next one becomes easier to produce. Once the system works, you can grow it. That is how real stability is built. Slowly, quietly, and intelligently. You do not need to predict every crisis available. You don't need to panic every time the world makes a weird move. You just need to build a life that can handle it. That means more than one source of income, more than one way to create value, more than one pillar holding your future. Because the goal is not just to survive the next storm, the goal is to come out of it stronger, calmer, and more free. And if you build in that direction, uncertainty stops being the enemy. The world can keep changing. Your job is to make sure your life is still standing. If this made sense to you, tell me in the comments what extra income ideas you might have. One income can build a life, but several incomes can protect it. That protection is what gives you freedom, and that freedom is what lets you live. Well, life is easy. It's the people that complicate it. See you again next time.